JPMorgan to launch a stablecoin on Base, but it's not actually a stablecoin. Iranian exchange gets hacked and loses around $50 million, escalating further the tension between Israel and Iran. The Genius Act passed, and now we have regulations on stablecoins for US citizens. And last but not least, the FOMC happens today, and most likely rates will stay the same, but Jerome Powell could still do something that would shake the markets as always. Let's jump into the news in today's video. Hello folks, welcome back to another one. Let's actually jump to prices right away. We have Bitcoin at 104,527. We have Ethereum at 2,500, smack at 2,500. We have XRP at 213, BNB at 642, and Solana at 145. So all of these numbers are not new to us because we have been seeing that up and down. But last night we had a huge drop and fast recovery from almost all of these. And before we jump into the charts and news, let's actually go to BitTopics because BitTopics actually paid. So if we go to the copy trading tab and scroll down, look, 3.44. We went above the month of March. We're almost compared to February. Hopefully we're able to beat February because right now we are still on the 18th. So we have half a month to go, more or less. And these returns are already worthwhile. So here is 3.44%. And guess what? I did some trading myself. So if we switch right here and we go down, you see that I have another put spreads. I'm loving these put spreads right here. And I have the 2300 and the 2200. So this gives me around 50 bucks more or less, and a return of 0.45, 0.47% approximately. So that is super good. And I did the math so far for the month of June. I am beating the copy trading. So honestly, very, very good. I am around the 4% mark. So not that far off from the copy trading that we have here on BitTopics. And again, as I always say, hopefully very, very soon, we're going to release the copy trading vaults for everyone. So if you are a good trader and you want to open a vault where people can deposit money and you can trade this money on BitTopics, you're going to be able to do so yourself. So hopefully this happens very soon because I am having a blast. 16 consecutive wins here with BitTopics. You can actually go for the trade history. Look, all of these are wins, all of these are wins, all of these are wins, and then we stop. So if this one goes in my favor, if this spread goes in my favor, I'm gonna have 17 consecutive wins, and maybe we can reach the 5% mark on the month. So fantastic returns for me, and fantastic returns as well for the copy trading, because you're not gonna find anywhere that you can deposit stablecoins and get over 3% a month on your stablecoins, on your dollar. This is pretty much what you get in a whole year with your savings account. You're getting that in a single month right here with BitTopics, and even more than that. So now with that out of the way, let's jump to the pricing itself of our cryptocurrencies. So we start with Bitcoin here, dropping around the 104, the 104,000. We're getting to the low 104s, and you can see by looking all the way back, we are in a point of interest. This is a strong range right now, so most likely we're gonna hold right here because we're going towards oversold on the 4 hour. On the 1 hour, I think we are already very, very close to the oversold right here. Yeah. So this is the dip that we saw yesterday, huge volume of red candles right here. Then we picked it back up. We went above the moving average. Now we're below the moving average again, but I do believe that we are reaching a point of a bottom right here. Maybe we're going to go in the 103 once again. Hopefully the 103 holds. On Ethereum, same thing. We are on a point of interest right here. You can see right around here. Look how many times we tested around this range. Look at the current price. This is also a place where we tested. Look. So hopefully this shows us that this is a place where Ethereum can rest and then take a breather and go back up. Hopefully it does. And as you can see by this little line, if you are familiar with it right now, this little line shows the options that I sold. So all of these white lines right here are the strikes from the leg that I sell here. And whenever Ethereum stays above these, I get full profit. So right now, from the price that we are on Ethereum, for me to get scared, we would have to go 7.5% down in 1 day, which I don't think will happen. If we see a huge drop like this, usually it has a fairly strong movement upwards as well. For example, you can see a huge drop right here, followed by some recovery, some fast recovery. So that is good for you to know. Whenever there's a huge movement, usually there's a not as strong movement, but also a very huge response to that movement. So if we see a huge green candle, it is going to be followed by somewhat of a correction. If it is a red candle, it will be followed by somewhat of a correction itself. Solana doesn't look good. Solana, I don't have much to say. We are also getting very close to that oversold position here, so not much to say. On liquidations, we didn't have many liquidations in the past 24 hours, 345, which is an average number. And for Bitcoin, we have liquidations for shorts at around 105,000, but now we're fairly far from 105. Most likely we're gonna be looking at 103, maybe not 103 130, but for sure this range right here will be taken. Now, regarding the hack on Nobitex, which is the Iranian exchange, they posted on Twitter announcing their security incident, which was hacked by a group that is linked to Israel. Of course, we cannot say if they're actually linked to the government. I don't think so, but this is why it is escalating a lot of the conflict and the tension between the two countries. And they don't mention here, but articles online say that this number varies from 48 million to all the way to $84 million lost in users' funds from hot wallets. The volatility for Ethereum is starting to pick up. So devol for Ethereum is going up again. This is the 2 hours chart. The 4 hour chart looks good as well. And you can see ascending pattern. We have higher highs, and this is good for us. This started to flip. You can see if you draw a line right here, this started to flip, but hopefully if we go back up, was just because of the intraday between one day and the other. When we don't have trading open on stock markets, it brings volatility down, and hopefully this goes back up. Again, we have an article right here. If you want to pause and read it, feel free to do it, but this is just what we saw on Twitter, an article about the Iranian exchange hacked, and then this Israeli linked group, they claimed to be responsible for the hack, but again, no other confirmations from neither parties. The stablecoin bill, the Genius Act, was passed. It received bipartisan support, so both sides were almost in an agreement for this bill to be passed on. So this should bring in more security, more eyes towards stablecoins in the US. Of course, it comes with regulations which are good, and most likely it comes with taxes as well. Everything has its price at the end of the day. And regarding JPMorgan, they launched very quietly the JPMD stablecoin, which is actually a deposit token on Base, where people can, so far it is very limited who can access this, who can transaction with this, but it will be just for JPMorgan users as far as I understand so far. So indeed a sort of a stablecoin, and this is just to speed transactions inside JPMorgan's banks as far as I can understand. So this marks the beginning of mass adoption from banks. Of course, Ripple is already very heavily used by online banks like Nubank, for example. A bunch of South American and global banks are using Ripple because of speeds, transaction speeds. So they're using Ripple's blockchain to do all of these transactions, or most of these transactions in the blockchain already. But for JPMorgan, an American bank, a very renowned bank, to start using blockchain as a sort of part of their tech, it is huge. And it's very important for crypto, especially blockchains in general, because now blockchains actually see utility on speed and scalability. So institutions will most likely look for better and faster opportunities out there. And last but not least, we have the CME Fed Watch tool, and 99% of analysts believe that we're not going to have any rate cuts today. And of course, these numbers are mostly correct. So most likely we shouldn't see anything happen in the market. However, we see that Powell has the ability to manipulate markets with whatever he says or does. So we have to keep an eye on that. That is also why I went for such a wide spread on my crypto, because I didn't know if he's going to say something or do something that is going to make the market crash. Of course, the market reacts very fast on what he says, but still it's better to be safe than sorry. That being said, this ends today's news. Hopefully it was insightful and you learned something. Again, if you see these returns and you want to try BitTopics, the first link in the description will get you to the website. You can just register, no KYC, deposit there, and start trading with a copy trading or by yourself. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and hopefully you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.